Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello, now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello and welcome to the We're Going Chasing Cheltenham preview special for one day only. I'm joined by Jack today. If anyone is a regular viewer or was a regular viewer, they'd notice this isn't James Heffernan. James has deemed himself too busy to do it. Whether he is or not, we don't know, but he's not here anyway. So thanks a lot to Jack for coming on. How are you, Jack?
Yeah, no, thanks, Cillian. Long time listener, first time caller. Good to be on board. I hope people don't miss James too much, but he's out there managing the Sport Ireland campus and keeping it going for for the athletes.
He's a busy guy. So we're sure we'll crack on with this. Like, it's not going to be too long. Just a quick review of the graded races, and then, of course, the all-important lay list that went so well last year. So we'll crack on Tuesday, Jack, the Supreme Novice Hurdle.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Cillian. Looking forward to it now. I suppose, what is it? This day next week. What do you think of this race? It looks like a strong renewal, I suppose, but there's a few unknown quantities with maybe Mighty Park going and a few others like that.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of the better Supremes now. I'd say, going back to Constitution Hill and Jambon running against each other. Like Old Park Star is probably the right favourite. He hosed up over in Haydock, and it mightn't have been the strongest race in the world, but you can't knock him for what he did that day. He can only beat what's in front of him. I think the Irish form is fairly strong from the DRF, especially Talk the Talk, Ballyfad if he runs. King Rasco Gray's probably go to the Turners, but Talk the Talk's a very impressive horse. Like he looked to win at Christmas and came down at the last. His jumping's not impeccable, but I think really strongly run 2 miles would be right up his street. And I suppose you're looking at further down the list then El Kairos. I think he'd be the one for me now. I just thought what he was going to do at Leopardstown at Christmas was awesome. Like he cruised into the race and was going to put real daylight between the horse that ended up winning the race. He was going to absolutely hack up. So I wouldn't take him too much on the Thurles performance, but he's definitely, his price sort of is built into the fact that he's a bit of an unknown at this level. So I think him at sort of 6-7 to 1 is a fair bet. I think looking at the exchange, Mighty Park probably go to the Turners at this point. So he's 13.5 as we're recording here Tuesday afternoon. So maybe that'll change, but it's definitely a good race. Like even some at a bigger price, My Daddy Paddy, Sober Glory, like you wouldn't be surprised if any of them hit the frame. So it's a great way to kick off the festival anyway.
And do you think Talk to Talk will go here, Cillian?
I'd say he will, yeah. Joseph seems to be happy enough to go here, and unless something drastically changes, I'd say Mighty Park probably go to the Turners. I don't think the hustle and bustle of a Supreme on his second start over hurdles is going to be any good to him. So I think they might go to the Turners. It looks not much of a weaker race, but it's definitely the easier of the two anyway. So it's going to be a great way to kick off the festival anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it should be a great race. I guess it's a race that's kind of changed a few times. This, start of the year, you Bambino Fever, very, very short, which is just ridiculous completely. And then my Daddy Paddy came in and then bombed out at Christmas. But I don't know. I liked El Kairos at Christmas, like just the way they talk about him. It's hard to ignore that. Look, his jump in, the question mark there it's very prominent, but I don't know. I think he could have the class to do this. I know I text you after Old Park Star at the last day and said I think that guy wins the Supreme, but maybe I always get a bit kind of softer on English form the closer we get to it. But it should be a good renewal anyway. But I think I've El Kairos backed now. I've him backed at worse prices than he is currently, so I'm sure I'll back him again on the day.
Yeah, no, it's a great race, and look, the couple of years there we had some short favourites in the Supreme. It's not ideal, and coming back to a more open race is definitely, if you can find the winner of this, it sets yourself up lovely for the week anyway.
So who are you siding with?
I'd side with El Kairos anyway.
Yeah, so two votes for El Kairos. Then on to the Arkle, where we have last year's Supreme winner, who was hugely impressive on the day. last year, but we haven't seen much of him since, or much of substance anyway. Kopech, I suppose he's the talking horse. Or there's been a lot of mentions on Twitter and a lot of kind of back and forth, which and a bit of Willie Mullins. Is he fit? Is he not fit? I like Kopech personally. I'd know what you think yourself.
Yeah, I think he was brilliant in Navan. Look, he's had a couple of issues, I suppose, and not ideal coming off one run, but it can be done. And like, if anyone can do it, it's Willie Mullins. I think he's gone into favourite now on the exchanges over Lamba, which I was a small bit surprised about. I think I'd imagine like Willie's not going to win the Supreme. I'd imagine Leader Jalea won't be good enough there. So like if Old Park Star wins the Supreme, you're looking at Lulamba definitely starting as favourite. I think he's been brilliant over fences so far. Like, he stepped into open company in Newbury and he beat the older horses. Like after a mile, you're looking at him thinking, geez, this lad's under a bit of pressure here, but they turned in for home and he's back on the bridle up the inside, away he goes and absolutely hosed up. I think it's a very strong Arkle as well. Like you got Kopek, Cargis, Romeo Coolio, that form from the Irish Arkle at the DRF looks very good as well. And then like you throw in the likes of Irish Panther as well, who's on top of Romeo Coolio at Christmas. He's been kept fresh. I know that maybe they might roll the dice in the Champion Chase with him, considering he's a 9-year-old, but geez, he'd have a great chance in the Arkle too. It's like I wouldn't like to be getting stuck into any of them. Maybe I think Cargis at the prices is like if Paul Townend rode her, I can't imagine he will, but
Oh,
if Paul Townend rode her, I'd be all over her anyway. But I'd imagine he'll stick with Kopek de Boers. Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's a tricky race to find the winner anyway.
It's a good article, I think, and it's probably about time we had a good one. There's been a lot of kind of shite over the last 10 years probably. I think I'm a big favorite of as many grade ones as possible, as you know my punting style, but with the marsh or whatever it was called just before it was taken out, it could have been the Turners even. It's a good kind of sign, the strength of this article, particularly if Romeo goes. Like I think in a normal year, you definitely have Romeo going to an intermediate trip. The Lambo would probably end up there, particularly if Kopech have been kind of firing all year. Like the top four of the market are really, really solid horses. Like I think with Romeo, I'd have my question marks. I think he's just had a tough campaign. I think it's easy to kind of to go against him. He's a horse I've loved so far this year, and I've backed him on a lot of days. I suppose we probably didn't see the best of him in spring last year as well. Like what Salvador Mundi kept him well held at Aintree now. I think he ran well in the Supreme against a really good horse who's also in this race, as we mentioned. The one that you mentioned at a bigger price that I'm a big fan of is Irish Panther. I loved him as a bumper horse. I remember the day the two of us were finishing our job on the same day back in 2023. He was running in, I think, bumper in Punchestown, and he was still in Mulryan colours. I remember going in. I was in the jar and on Camden Street, and there's Paddy Power beside it, and snuck off kind of at whatever time, 5 or 6 o'clock. I think it was an evening meeting, and had a right go at him, and he looked like he was going to hose up that day, and got caught by a Charles Burns horse. But definitely, if he ends up here, and I hope he does, I'll have a few quid on him. I reckon I might even play Slay Romeo. I just think, given like the ground is drying out a bit as well. Now, I hope there is a bit of rain between now and then, but I'll lay Romeo for two places and I'll back Irish Panther, I'd say. And without going too mad, I've Kopech backed a few times already earlier in the year, so I won't be touching him again on the day.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think, geez, if Romeo Coolio was mine anyway, I wouldn't be going to Cheltenham. I'd be keeping him for the Willow Worm in Fairyhouse. I think he's not a 2 miler. I know he's won two grade ones over 2 miles, but he's
Yeah,
I just don't think he's going to be good enough over that trip on the day, and his future definitely lies over 2.5 to 3 miles. Like he's potential Gold Cup horse down the
yeah,
line. So if I know the owners are English, so they probably want the runner, but I'd definitely be keeping him at home anyway.
yeah. No, I'd be similar. Yeah, especially after the campaign he's had. So I'm siding with Irish Panther here and a few other plays. What way are you?
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's sake. Cargeese if Danny's riding.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Then on to the champion hurdle, and your favorite horse of all time, I'd say, or
Yeah.
top two
Shot
anyway,
of
top two
redemption.
behind. Yeah,
Shot of redemption for the fancy mare. Big race mare. Yeah, if the race was on in Leopardstown, she'd be an absolute certainty.
yeah.
Like I don't know, I don't buy the fact that she doesn't show her best at Cheltenham. Like the mare's Novice was a bit of a disaster. In terms of the Jack and Paul were just sort of looking at each other, and Golden Ace went and spoiled the show that day. Think she had legitimate excuses last year from what the trainer has said. And the fact that she went to Punchestown and didn't fire at all would lead you to believe there were serious issues for her. Like she got basically bottomed out, beaten Stateman at Christmas last year.
Just
And
Killian, on your point around the mayor's novice as well. Like I know there was a lot of people like gave up on her nearly that day. But like Golden Ace, like I think you can mark up that race in retrospect as well,
yeah,
given like I know like Golden Ace fell into a champion hurdle last year and has fallen into a few races, but she is always there or thereabouts. She's no plotter, as you might have thought kind of on the Thursday 2 years ago.
mm,
So I think you can kind of mark that up in retrospect as well.
yeah. But I just think if Brighter Days Ahead can do what she did at Leopardstown the last day, that there'll be no beating her here.
Yeah.
Um, like I think she's Christmas probably fitness got her beat. I know people can say Gordon had 18 winners over Christmas or whatever he had, but like she always takes the run first time out.
Yeah.
She did it up in Down Royal last year when she beat King of Kingsfield. She stepped forward and beat Stateman and the Morgana, and then had the monster run at Christmas. Like I just don't believe in this not producing it in Cheltenham. Like if she'd gone and won in Punchestown last year, I'd probably be of a different opinion. But the fact that she was so below her best in Punchestown as well would lead you to believe there was something wrong. So I think she's the horse to beat here. Like I don't fancy the new line at all. Um I think wherever he is, Golden Ace will be in front of him.
Yeah.
I think she'd have beaten him at Newcastle. And like I think that the form of the Turners is shocking from last year. For all Final Demand won a grade one this year. Um, and the new line won in the international hurdle, but I couldn't have him at all. He's very short price, and then I suppose looking at Lossiemouth, then like sort of no one knows at this point, but I'd say she'll be in the mares.
Yeah, well, I think people are saying they don't know, but I think everyone knows in their heart of hearts she's not going to be here.
Yeah,
Like even looking at the exchange now, she's 6.6. Like I think if she was going and people had an idea she was going, they'd be hammering off that.
yeah,
No, I think Birthday Days Ahead is a better mare over 2 miles, and would beat her anyway. I think everything you said about last year, I think and Christmas and that, I think you can kind of it was pretty obvious at Christmas that she was going to improve for the run, and she did, and she held Losim out pretty well there at the RF. Like I think looking at this race, there's one class horse in it. It's Brighter Days Ahead. I think, like you said, New Lion, the form from that Turner's last year is just absolute muck. I think Final Demand is a talking horse. I don't rate him. We'll come on to that later. Poneros, then you're looking at 10-1 for probably the worst triumph winner of all time, worst triumph winner since Pentland Hills, anyway. And you know, like you said, Golden Ace would be ahead in New Line wherever he is. Like he could be on the ground pretty early. Like I just couldn't have him at all. I don't think he's a 2 miler either. I think if this Brother Days ahead chance, if she doesn't win this, I think you need to mark her down as not as good as you thought she was initially,
well,
Killian.
I don't know about that now either, but I think like her future does lie over fences, and she
Yeah,
probably isn't a 2 miler completely herself. But she's more than capable of winning this. It's her class that'll get her to win it more than anything else. So I think we
yeah,
have two votes for Brighter Days Ahead here, which is great.
I think so. At what 7-2 or so on the exchange, like that's a
Yeah,
very sweet price. I
yeah, it's a
think
good price. Yeah, yeah.
I'd be getting stuck in at that now myself. Great. So I think we've the grade ones for Tuesday covered off, and we have a few
Yeah.
winners for everyone there. Moving on to the handicaps. What do you think in general? I suppose about the handicap.
To be honest, I haven't looked at them in too much detail, really. Munsif in the Friday Winter. The ground is drying. He's a solid price. He ran in the crucial race at Naas, that Highland Crystal beat Saratoga. And I think if you watch the race back, like immediately afterwards, he was the one I was taking out, not Saratoga. That he was very tenderly handled after the last, travelled into it really well, and just couldn't quicken on the ground, or didn't want to quicken, maybe. I think they're fairly happy with the mark he got off the BHA handicapper. So he'd be one for me. Ultima, I think if handstands runs, he's the class angle in the race. I think he gets 3 miles, no problem. And like if there's a grade one horse in the field, it's him. And I suppose then the plate, there's not really sure who's going to run in it yet. I'd be with Waterford Whispers wherever he runs. I think it was a massive eye catcher at Leopardstown, and he's definitely better than a mark of 137. But whether he'll be able to cash in on that in a very competitive Cheltenham handicap, I don't know, or might be something for him in Fairyhouse or Punchestown later in the season. Yourself?
I know you're talking to him later on, but is there any kind of inclination is Slade Steele going to run in the plate?
Where we've Rob on later, I don't think so. The novice handicap is where
Oh,
he's
okay.
planned to go. So that sort
Yeah,
of was trying to lead to Waterford Whispers there, that maybe he might run there, but he's also in the Kim Muir, and there's a number of options. So it is difficult to know still at this point.
yeah. No, I'm the same in Saratoga. I don't know, 9 to 2 in a Fred Winter. I just can't be having that. Like I couldn't tell you the winner, but I could tell you the one I'm not going to back at the current prices anyway.
Yeah.
The Yeah, I think the National Hunt Chase I kind of like and get coming around to Wade Out. I
Okay.
think he's a bit unexposed, and I think that there's a bit of juice in his price yet. But I think I can't remember who said it last week, but I'll probably decide which loser I back on the day in each of the handicaps. Maybe get shouted a few of them, but yeah, I think that's kind of so. No real strong opinions anyway from either of us.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
suppose, Jack, we'll get your best bet on the Tuesday then.
yeah. I guess I think we're probably going to end up with the same here, and I'm trying to avoid it. But Friday days ahead at current prices is looking very appealing to me. But at the same time, I'd be quite happy to, at the current price of what 6 to 1 or so, have a good go at El Kairos. Like I think if he stands up and finishes the race, he wins. Like so I'll probably play El Kairos. I'll play both of them singly, and I'll double them up as well.
Yeah, that I was about to say the same thing. Each way double El Kairos and Lazier and Brighter Days Ahead would be mine anyway. The sort of 6, 7 to 1 and 11 to 4 on Brighter Days Ahead. I think you'll be definitely collecting off the place part anyway, and hopefully on the double. So that'll
Yeah,
bring us on to Wednesday. So Jack.
yeah. Wednesday kicking off at the Turners again. A pretty strong looking race. I think there's one real talk horse again. Paul Nichols has found his den man for the fifth time in about 10 years. I think once again it's probably sending the horse to the wrong race. If No Drama Descend was heading to the Albert Bartlett, I'd be all over it. But I think we've had Hermes Allen, we've had Brighter Days Ahead, not Brighter, sorry, we've had Hermes Allen, we've had Brave Man's Game, we've had Denman himself, and now we're going to have No Drama Descend, and I think we're going to end up with another Paul Nichols second or third in the Turners. Um, Look, I think it's a pretty strong race. Other than that, like Mighty Park, I guess sets the talking standard anyway. No one really knows what could be under the hood there, but if you listen to Ruby or anyone connected to the Mullins Yard in any preview, they're really excited about this horse. I thought Skylight Hustle in his Grade One win was very kind of impressive. It'll be interesting to see what Rob says to you later. Hopefully Jack rides him because I'm sitting on him at some big prices. Ballyfad, I'm a big fan of. Cost me a bit of money at the DRF, but I think he's a really good horse and will be a really good horse into the future. But I think Skylight Hustle would have his measure out back in Gordon's. Then apart from that, I think Nicky has Active Innocence, but I don't think he's nearly as good as Old Park Star for the same owners. And then King Raspel Grey is a horse I kind of struggle to get behind. I know there's something about maybe his kind of Bumper form just doesn't sit well with me. I know Willie probably wasn't going too hard on him, but let's see. But I'm definitely kind of siding on the side of Skylight Hustle, but a bit afraid of Mighty Park.
Yeah, I'd be similar. Like, I think I don't know how is no drama this end better than Brave Man's game. I'd struggle to see it, to be honest. And like again, if he was in the Bartlett, I'd definitely back him. Now, I'd say from Paul Nicholls' point of view, it's probably better for the horse's long-term development that he runs in the Turners and not the Bartlett and the slog there. Like you can go up to 3 miles in Aintree anyway. Um, but I'd struggle to see him being better than Brave Man's game. Like Hermes Allen, as you said, Dinman, they all failed to win this race. I just think it favours a speed horse, and the speed horses are Skylight Hustle and Ballyfad for definite, and more than likely Mighty Park too. I think if Dr. Steinberg ran here, he'd no chance. Like the winner of that Grade One in the Dublin Racing Festival, Nathaniel Lacey, has always struggled in the Turners when it has ran there. So I wouldn't be on him if he runs here. Um, Mighty Park looked really impressive when he won, but like heavy ground around Fairyhouse. Like what was in behind him was the horse that was on top of El Kairos, that pick Dino or something. I can't think of his name.
Arkle.
Yeah, he like he mightn't have been at his. He was obviously stripped fitter against El Kairos in Thurles. So I'd be with Skylight Hustle. Like hit the line really hard at Leopardstown at Christmas. Has the sort of 2 mile speed, and I think he's a right chance here. He's around 5 or 6 to 1, so he'd be my one there, I think.
And would you take him if Talk to Talk wins here? Would it put you off at all, or do you think
Um,
that was held the truth of Christmas, or the extra four, the extra five?
yeah, Jesus, hard to know. I think Talk to Talk. It's very difficult to weigh them up. I maybe side slightly towards Talk to Talk.
Yeah,
Does have some jumping frailties, can hit one. Skylight Hustle's pretty pinpoint accurate over his hurdles. So there's not a lot between them. I don't think there would have been a lot between them at Christmas. I think Talk to Talk would have won, but I wouldn't have
yeah,
said it would have been as far as some people are suggesting, because Skylight
yeah.
Hustle did hit the line very hard.
Yeah, no, it's interesting as well with Skylight Hustle. Like, there's not a huge amount of talk about him or even the other Robcour kind of contender later in the week, Chupu over the preview circuit. Like, they've flown very much under the radar. I think probably because you have a few big talking horses, excuse the pun, in here. But just to kind of close off on this, I do agree with your point around no drama descend, and I think he probably does have a big future later on in his career, and like running here and losing here has benefited Paul Nicholls in the past, but I just can't have him at all in this
Yeah, well, like
race.
I don't think you should be afraid of getting beat. Like take your chance in a Grade One, do what's
Yeah,
best for the horse, and this is probably what is best for the horse. Whereas I do
yeah,
think he'd win the Bartlett, but look, maybe you mightn't see him to the full of his abilities in 2 years' time if he did have that slog
yeah.
on the Friday.
No, definitely. So I think two shouts for Skylight Hustle coming from the We're Going Chasing camp here.
Mm,
Um,
no surprise.
par for the course. Onto the Brown Advisory then, and I think we've already touched on Final Demand, but might let you give your kind of you've spotted a few things in this market pretty kind of early on in the year.
Yeah, yeah. Around, it was before Down Royal. I was watching Western Fold had won in Gordon Park. He'd beaten Aphrodite Fury, and I just looked up his price for the Brown Advisory, and he wasn't priced up. Um, so I requested the price, got given a price of 50s, and then didn't back it. So really good stuff there. Um, yeah, Galway Plate winner off 148. Like he has the Grade One form in Open Company behind in Violin and Aphrodite Fury and Down Royal. That took another boost when Aphrodite Fury won the Savills. Like now
Yeah,
he'll need drying ground. Looks like he's going to get it. Geez, he's weekly nap material there, like at 8 to 1. Like I'd say you could have what you want in him each way, and there's no way he's out of the first three. Like,
Yeah,
I know he was beaten the last day by Kate Doughty, but his ground he would have absolutely hated. Very progressive horse. He's improved run to run. Probably needed a bit of the run as well the last day in Leopardstown. So he's he's one now I'd be all over as long as the ground isn't gone too heavy for him. Like Final Demand, Jesus, like he won a Christmas like Jimmy Desai gave a desperate round of jumping below in Limerick, and I think like there was definitely cracks in Final Demand in Limerick. He didn't like maybe he wasn't asked the question too much, but he definitely didn't look the same horse he did at Navan that day, and he cracked in Limerick, and I think he disintegrated in Leopardstown, and Jesus, it's going to be very hard to get him back to what he can do in 6 weeks. So if they do, fair play to them, and he could take all the beating, but geez, I'd be very against him.
yeah. I couldn't have Final Demand for love nor money. Like,
Yeah,
I loved him last year. I thought he was a super horse last year, but I think if you go back in retrospect, the Turners last year was a bag of shite, really. Like I don't know who I'll back in this yet. Like I think you've kind of sold me over the last couple of months on Western Fold, particularly if the weather keeps going the way it is going. But I think the only thing I do know is I'll I'll be laying Final Demand, and that's kind of, and then I'll see on the day what way I'll play the rest of the race. Like I think, like you say, if it gets if rain that's not forecast comes, I'll be on the Big Westerner. If it keeps drying out, I'll be on Western Fold, and
yeah,
then
that's fair
so
enough.
on
And I
the
think
day.
like another horse in the race, Windigo, like could easily come third, can't win. Not possible. Like he's just not classy enough to win a race like this against the likes of Western Fold, Kay Doughty, the big Westerner, Final Demand. Like he can't beat all of them. He might beat
Yeah,
some of them, but he won't beat them all.
yeah, no, fully agree. Champion Chase, we've had some big movements this morning, and I know you were kind of keen to record once news was coming out,
Yeah.
which is good, and we got lucky in the timing wise because it shapes the kind of conversation. But Marine Nationale, who Barry Connell has, geez, he must have the whole farm on him at this stage. The talking he's done if he's any bit of a punter, but out now. I don't think he was winning anyway. But what way does it leave you looking at the
I
rest of the
sure
field?
it'll be nearly a no bet race now. I'm not backing Majbur at odds on.
Yeah,
For all he could perhaps take offense with him. Um, and he'll just if he makes the run and he's going to be impossible basically to peg back bar and he comes down. Looking at the rest of them like Lotus Hood, geez, you'd be surprised now if he's champion chase caliber. Elite Thoms was just doesn't seem to be great around Cheltenham and coming off a fall as well. I'd be against him. Quilixios hasn't ran since the race last year. Now I think he'd have gave Marine National a fair race up the run in, but geez, you couldn't have him off a year. Like it'd be a miracle training performance for all. Henry's horses are brilliant in March.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think it'd be like if Captain Guinness runs, Jack, he could easily come third again. He's 100 to 1.
yeah.
Um,
You haven't backed?
I haven't
Yeah,
to know, but like,
no,
you know, he like he could easily just fall into second or third there again, like, and he's brilliant around Cheltenham. I know he's another year older now, but second, first, and third in the last three champion chases. Like, geez, if he came back again, he's a Cheltenham superstar. Like,
yeah,
so I imagine will win. I'd say.
yeah. And I guess like Henry's pulled a few special things in this race
Mm.
over the years. But yeah, no, look, I think Majborough, the one concern maybe now is the ground it seems to be drying out, but I think he's still the class horse in the race. He still should win. He's about 1.95 in the exchange at the moment. You'd say, looking at what he has to beat, you'd nearly put that into every accumulator you have. Calixios, I think, is just a stinking price at 11 or 12s or whatever he is now. Irish Panther, I hope they don't jump and go here, but I can see why the temptation is there. But look, I backed Major before the DRF at 5 to 1 not to go too hard in the trumpet. But I think that's kind of that's looking nice. But I'd say apart from that, apart from any bets you've done up to now, it's a no bet race.
Yeah, I think so. Like, and yeah, look, I'd love to see Majbur just put 20 lints on them and absolutely hose up in a demolition job. And
Yeah,
that'd be what I'd be hoping for in the race now, to be honest.
yeah. And I think what people forget with him is like he's still a very young horse and he's
Mm.
still improving. So I think that's very possible. The bumper now, Cillian. I
Yeah,
know that.
if you hadn't for the bumper, we might just skip the bumper. We
No,
don't really believe in the bumper in this podcast.
yeah, no, I normally love a bumper, but I'm struggling here again. I'll probably pick whatever loser I back on today. The Morn Rambler was good at Christmas, and is a Colin Keane jacked up on him by the sounds
Yeah.
of it. So I think he'd be more of an interest bet, but apart from that, I have no real opinion.
Yeah, the only one I'm against is the Rich Richie horse, Love Danu or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I think
love
it's no
signed in.
chance.
Yeah,
Three
yeah,
Mile Chaser, just one easy on bad ground, but wouldn't say he was holding on to a lot. So, yeah, I'd be definitely against him.
yeah. No, I agree. Right, handicaps quickly. So I suppose we've got the newly crowned Bet MGM Cup, or the Coral Cup, as most people will refer to it. A lot of big prices here, Killian. Is there anything that's standing out to you, or at this point?
No, that'll be one I'll back the loser on the day. I don't know if I ever backed the winner of the Carter Cup.
Did you not back Langer down twice? No.
No, I never backed Langerdon.
Yeah, you're too honest for your own good.
Too much morality
And anything in the Grand Annual?
in the pocket.
Nice.
Um, didn't get put up on his Irish mark. Big eye catcher at Leopardstown looked anchored to the ground. Has ran well in Cheltenham at the past. Think he's really well handicapped if he can put it all together. He's a bit frustrating, but he's a grade one hurdler. He has all the class to go win a race like this. So he'd be one for me now at the moment.
Okay, very good. So I think we're halfway through the week. We might take a quick break and come back in a
Yeah,
second.
we just get your nap for Wednesday as well there.
Yeah, sorry, I've been looking for the line too early. Nap for Wednesday. I think, look, if you get odds against on Majborough and there's any bit of soft in the ground, I'd say fucking bet what you can't afford. And yeah, that's where I'd be playing it. I guess within the Turners, hopefully Skylight Hustle, as I'm on at big prices, but I think Wednesday's a tough day to figure out, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say
Um,
it would be a Western fold for me each way, and it'll be it'll be substantial, hopefully. A bit sickened I'm not on at 50s, but I still think he's a super price as he is now. So yeah, that's perfect. So we'll wrap up Wednesday and we've got Rob Acheson coming up now to go through the 10 or 11 Robcour runners that we're going to see next week.
Perfect. See you
Hi
soon.
Rob, how's it going? Great to have
Well,
you back.
Killian, how are you? It's great to be back for the yearly swan song.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that is it. Yeah, we're delighted to have you anyway. And we mightn't have James this year, but it's great to have at least one constant from the Cheltenham previews. You've had a good year so far.
Great year. No, absolutely delighted. We've won four grade ones up to now. We're on 29 winners for the year, so we're four off our best ever tally for a single season. So yeah, if we can keep it going up until the end of the season, we'd be delighted.
Yeah, Jesus, that's some amount of winners now. You must be delighted with that, and a couple of Grade One winners, and we'll get to those shortly. But I suppose just looking at the entries, we're starting off on Tuesday. Carasso Blue in the National Hunt Chase.
Yeah, nice horse, big. He's about 17-1. He did well to win twice as juvenile hurdler now because he's so big, so gangly. Probably wouldn't have the class. Like you might need to be a graded horse in this race. Mightn't have the class for that, but he'll jump. All he does is jump and gallop. He'll definitely get the trip. Whether he's good enough to win it, he may not be, but he'll be in the first four or five, I'd say.
Yeah, and he's getting that 5-year-old allowance as well, is he?
That's it. I think he's getting £3, is it?
Yeah, something
So
like
yeah,
that.
something like it's £2 or £3. Look, it'll be a help, but sure, look, it's there for a reason. The younger horses need it. So
Yeah.
whether he's good enough is the question, not about the weight.
Yeah, and he's got good form this year, so hopefully he goes there with a good chance. I suppose that's moving on to Wednesday then, and the Turner's Novice Hurdle Skylight Hustle Grade One winner already, and he's been in good form this year. So what do you think about his chances?
Yeah, no, it's look, we've been delighted with him. Probably a fortunate grade one winner at the time, but as Jack said he was galloping to the line anyway. So we'll stick with the party line on that one. Whether he rides him is a different thing, but we'll see. Yeah, no, look, he's a good horse. He's a real stick jumper. He'll be able to go any pace they want. I quietly fancy him now without like it's. I know people say, oh, like some people are crabbing that the speed horse wins this in terms of the amount of champion hurdlers it throws out. But when you look at the races going back, generally it is the fastest horse wins it. Whether they're fast enough to compete at a championship level is a different thing. And he's a fast horse. Like there's no getting away from it. Like Gordon wasn't really a fair reflection on him. It ended up being a really good maiden as well. But Gordon's weren't going particularly well at the time, first time out. Like it's been open and out there that the gallop was out of use for a couple of weeks. So he ran really well in a race that's turned out very well between the Devil You Know and the Passing Wife. And he absolutely bolted up in Fairyhouse then, and then went and did what he did in Leopardstown. So yeah, no, like he's so efficient over his hurdles. I think no matter what, jump in the last, he'll have a chance. And what happens after that, we'll see.
Yeah, and the novice hurdles seem particularly strong anyway this year. So I suppose even hitting the frame would be a good result for him. I presume he's a chaser down the line as well, is he?
Not. I wouldn't be too bullish on that now. Like he'd be a bit petite in his physique. Can I say?
Okay.
So he wouldn't be a big brute of a yoke, but no, he's efficient, which is the main thing, and we'll get this year over with before we get back next year.
Okay, and then I suppose on Wednesday, a couple of entries in the Grand Annual relieve the duties. Golden Joy, will either of them run?
Golden Joy will run no matter what, relieve the duties. He's probably a bit ground dependent now. The better the ground, the better chance he has, and we'll see. He'll travel over anyway. The weather's meant to be dry enough, I think.
Golden Joy ran really well the last day in Leopardstown, so I suppose he's coming in good form.
Yeah, he's been a horse. He's been a horse I've struggled with the last sort of 18 months. I got a bit sick of him, as a lot of people close to me know, up to his run in the DRF now. But I was watching the Race Hour podcast, and Tony Keenan made a good point that horses that came up the inside, there didn't seem to be a track bias at the time, so that might have helped him a small bit, but. So look, we'll take it as the visor, and the visor did the job. We'll see. He's a bit of a pig in my book. I'll be totally honest with you now. I wanted out like so he wouldn't have really been for me up until then. But we'll see. We'll give him a chance.
Yeah, and relieve
he's a project.
Sorry,
he's a project. He's a work in progress.
Fair enough. And relieve the duties has the bit of Cheltenham form from the November meeting then as well.
October meeting,
October
ran an absolute blinder then on ground. On ground, we thought would be a bit soft for him, so that's why when people go back and watch it, that he was dropped out. He was ridden to come home because we weren't sure whether he'd get home on the ground, and he ended up handling it well enough. He handled the track. He got dropped for his run in Punchestown the last day. I think he got dropped 3 in Ireland. So if the ground is better ground, he has a chance.
Yeah, fair enough. And that segues us on nicely to another novice chaser, Slade Steele, for the novice handicap. Is that where he's going to go?
Yes, that is where he'll go. He's becoming a bit of a bridesmaid at the moment now.
Yeah.
Sure. He was unlucky on New Year's Eve. I think he probably would have won the day he was brought down, and probably didn't seem to go as well in Navan now. Like there was the day in Punchestown, you would have been delighted all the way throughout the race until he was brought down. Whereas in Navan, he was just, Dara was kind of fucking, you could see he wasn't, sorry, excuse me for cursing there. You could see, when you watch it back, if people watch back, you can see Dara wasn't happy. Like he changed the whip from one hand to the other, about to go back down on the second circuit, which isn't really a great sign. So look, he ran grand. He's just become a bit of a bridesmaid. If I'd be surprised if he's good enough to win it now, but look, Henry has his horses. Henry during Cheltenham is magic. So
Yeah.
you can forget how they run before that. They'll always run to the level journey.
Yeah, and I suppose 2.5 miles, strong pace, new track should suit him as well, the new course. So you'd hope he should be there
Yeah,
thereabouts anyway.
that's it.
And then moving on to the stairs hurdle, where I correctly predicted that Bob Ollinger was your best chance of the week last year, and I
You
was
did.
correct.
Now, yeah, it must be said you did it sneering at the same time.
I wasn't sneering.
I don't think you fully believed that at the time. Now, but no, so look, it's the two lads that go there again. We're in the very lucky situation where one will handle better ground, one will handle softer ground. So no matter what, one should come there with the chance. It looks a good race. I know very little people are giving Tiapu a chance, surprisingly enough, on previous circuits, but each of their own. I'll probably, if I was to take the pick between the two bars, I'd probably take him. But no, so look, if one of them jump the last, if one of them win, that's the main thing for us now. It doesn't matter who does it as long as one does it.
Yeah, well, that is the main thing, and I suppose like Tiapu's got a couple of grade ones already this year. He's raced a small bit more, I suppose, than usual. That shouldn't be a hindrance to him at all. Do you think?
No, it shouldn't be a hindrance. Look, I suppose we did the first year he had to go at it. He ran the Galmoy. He finished tired after it. Davey got off him after the stairs and said, look, the Galmoy is probably what finished him for the race itself. So the next year we skipped the Galmoy. We had one run, went there, he won. Then last year it didn't seem to work. But would I blame that? But would I blame us minding him for not winning last year or something like that? No, I'd say he's now a 9-year-old. The fact he's a 9-year-old and a 13-day shot for a grade 1 for a championship race at the Cheltenham Festival is probably down to minding him. So we can afford to be aggressive with him now. He'll go here and then he'll go to either Aintree or Punchestown, and we can have the 4 runs in the season rather than 3. Yeah. And we can go and do it again next year. And look, if he's good enough to win it, brilliant. If something younger comes up like Cabral de Matan or Mashantu or Honesty Policy, fair play.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I suppose Bob just coming with the one run, he ran a cracker at Christmas. Like, I know I was listening to
an absolute blinder.
Yeah.
Jesus wept. Oh, he ran some race now, like he was 10 turning 11. Like you can see, I'm fucking smiling over him already. Like he's savage. Like, yeah. I'll be totally honest with you. Didn't see that coming. Like when you look at Navan the 2 years before, like I know we got bet by home by the Lee in Navan the year before, and then home by the Lee beat him again in Leopardstown. Like I didn't see him running. I didn't see him being the best of the rest when Tiapu won at Christmas. Like I told you before. Like,
yeah.
I told you no. He'll need. He's 10. He'll need the run. Dara gave him a brilliant ride just to get him home and get him confident on a track he probably doesn't like. Like it's the one. I think it's the one track he's ran on that he hasn't won on. Sorry, he hasn't won in Punchestown. He ran in Punchestown once, hasn't won there. He's won on every other track he's ran on now. So no, delighted with him. He's a great chance. Look, the weather will help him, and whether the age catches up, we'll see. But sure, he's 4-4 at the course, luckily enough. But he's a great chance.
Yeah, seems to grow another leg over there in Cheltenham.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
A famous line. I think James used to say that one. So let's give him something there. And then the other horse you might have run on Thursday. Well, you're definitely running his Heartwood in the Ryanair.
Yeah, Heartwood will go on the Ryanair. Looks like one of Factifier or Gaelic Wire will go there. I'd say we'll ride him more aggressively this year than last year. Or Dara will ride him, not Will, because I'm not getting up on him. Dara will be more aggressive on him. Like we were kind of riding to find out last year, and he finished. I think it was exactly 8 lengths behind the winner, and 8 lengths or 9 lengths in front of third. So he was the best of the rest. Will be a bit more aggressive if you finish and end up finishing third or fourth because of it. What's the matter? Like you've had a go.
Yeah.
So we'll see whoever lines up will have a go anyway. Whether he's good enough is a different thing. He's never won a grade 1.
Yeah.
He's been second in 2 or 3. So look, there's nothing to lose by having a go.
Yeah, and I suppose he looks to have improved this year as well. Like he was good winning at Punchestown. I know he finished fourth in the Durkin, but like even then in the Tramore over 3 miles, he seems to have taken a step forward anyway this season.
Yeah, Josh. Look, it's in fairness to him, like he won in Punchestown, but he won in Wexford last year at the beginning of the season as well, and on the last meeting there, the last weekend of October. Then Durkin, for some reason, just didn't fire at all. Like he was absolute, like he finished fourth, but he was absolutely fucking hammered. Like, but no, he ran really well in Tramore. Ran delighted with that, and I think Dara being more aggressive on him was the winning of it. Like he was weighted to win it.
Yeah.
But like, because he'd only won a list race before, a grade 2 before that. So he had the weight to win, or a grade 3 or whatever it was in Punchestown. So he was getting weight off most of the horses in it. He rode him like the best horse in the race, and it was a brilliant ride from Dara. But yeah, we'll see. He's going in good form. Like it's, as I said with Slade Steele, as you said, they all seem thrown out of the leg when they go to Cheltenham with Henry. So
this is it, yeah. So
we'll give it a go.
hopefully now Hartwood can go a place better. Right, Rob, we'll move on to Friday just in case anyone notices we are in different clothes.
The eagle-eyed viewers
among people. This is on Tuesday evening now. Yes, the previous parts were on Monday evening. Rob's laptop broke, so died. So we had to reschedule. So just straight back into it, Rob. Friday, Triumph Hurdle, Monge 2 and Highland Crystal, will they run?
Triumph Hurdle Monge 2 will go to Aintree. Look, her form kind of says she's good enough to have a go at the Triumph, but we just think she's probably more of a speedy 2-miler than a staying 2-miler that wants, like traditionally they say the Triumph winner wants to go open trip. We think Aintree, better ground as well, will suit her. So yeah, look, we'll have a swing there if she can. She has a grade 1 black type. If she could win a grade 1 over there, it'd be ideal. Like it's not. I know this is a Cheltenham preview, but for us, Cheltenham isn't the be all and end all. So if she won a grade 1 in Aintree, we'd be happier than finishing second or third in Cheltenham with her. Highland Crystal, she will take her chance in this now. I know a lot of people were kind of assuming she'd go to the Fred Winter because they thought Monge 2 would come here, but like she's off the set. She would have been off. So there's the 3 top weights in the Fred Winter are Selma de Berry, Monge 2, and Highland Crystal, all off 138. If people were assuming the first 2 were going to the Triumph, she kind of deserves her place in the Triumph, and like it's not going to be with. If Narcisa was running, it'd probably be a different situation. We would have thought, right, we might go to Fairyhouse with the grade 2 because we think we'll win that. But if we think we're going to win the grade 2 and you're going to be top weight in Fred Winter, she's 3 from 3. Her future's over 2.5. It's going to be an old school Triumph, like big field, strong pace. She deserves her chance.
Yeah, I think it's fair enough. Yeah, she's done nothing wrong.
Look, whether that rating she has, it probably is a bit of a false rating for beating inferior horses to the horses in the grade 1 at the DRF. But like she's done nothing wrong. We, as said, I think it'll suit her. Whether she has the class is a different thing. Might just be lacking that class to win a grade 1 at Cheltenham. But if she jumps the second, if she's upsides sort of jump the second last, she's a fucking excuse my language. She's a stonking chance. Like she's a stonking chance. Like, but it's she's probably a small bit off that, but we'll take the chance anyway.
Yeah, well, that's good news. You've definitely given her a glowing recommendation. Albert Bartlett, spinning the yarn. He's heading over, is he?
Yeah, he's going. He's become a bit of a preview horse now. Out of nowhere, really. Like it's. I think we were half debating, say, a month ago whether his form deserved to go over, but then when you look at it, look, he's just a stayer. The horse that beat him in Clonmel, and then he beat in Punchestown, Parnell Street of Andrew Slattery. He finished 4th in the Michael Purcell, so probably doesn't scream it. But as he's out of a half sister to Sam Spinner, who placed in Sayers Hurling, placed in this, I think. So look, it's his future is a 3 mile. It's an open race. He's worth a chance.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And as well on Friday, Mayor's Chase only by night. I know she might have the option of the Champion Chase. Where are you leaning there?
Oh, sorry. That's why you my laptop died, but you get the exclusive now. You must be the happiest man in the world. No, there's no exclusive. There's still no decision made. I'd say we probably will go to the Mayor's Chase, but look, whether she get the trip is a different thing. The drier it looks like it's going to be dry ground, so it gives her a chance of getting the trip. But it's up in the air where she goes. Like, say if they got a deluge of rain out of nowhere, she might go to the Champion Chase, but Mayor's Chase is still a priority. Yeah,
no, that's fair enough. And then the last one on my list here in the last race on Friday, Air of Entitlement, the Mayor's Novice winner in the Martin Pipe.
Yeah, look, she's a chance. She's a chance. Look, it's like it's not one of those. It's me smiling, isn't it? It's me smiling is because I saw there's been a gamble on her recently, and I don't particularly know where it's come from. But
it was the Eagle Street Boys.
It was that young lad of the Considines, I think was it? No, so look, she has the rate. She had the option to go into the Carl Cup or coming here. When we saw the mark she got the other day, we said, right, we'll probably take the chance in the boys' race. So look, if we can get a good lad rider to definitely come here, we think we probably will get a good lad rider because look, she's a Cheltenham winner already. Henry's come live at Cheltenham. We think, look, she's out. I know I said the exact same thing last year. She's out of a half a Rogue Angel. She is going to be a stayer. 2.5 shouldn't be a problem for her. Yeah, we think she's a chance.
Yeah, that's great. And that wraps it up, Rob. Now, the next question on the list.
Well,
for the week.
Ours or someone else's?
Horses? Or maybe go nap of your own horses. Who is the best chance of winning?
Nap of our own horses. Now, sure, I would have said Tipu. I've said Tipu the last 2 years. He won a 12-1 the first year. Got beat last year. Yeah, I'll go from this year. So I do think he'll win. I do think.
Yeah, well, the odds would suggest.
Yeah, but it's not even the odds.
Anyway,
I just do think he'll win.
Yeah, fair enough. And then Rob, in terms of like a nap for the entire festival, it could be any horse from any trainer.
Again, a very smooth transition. I think not. I don't want to give a short price horse. I give a decent price horse. I think Manila Yoga for Paul Nichols to go well in the Fred Winter. John Allen had him. I know he thought a lot of him prior to selling him. Thought it was a good run of his behind Active Innocence, or he beat Active Innocence. I know he's getting £20, but he's been saved for the race now. I know conditions went his way that in Ireland he wouldn't have been qualified for the handicap because they wouldn't have counted the Academy Hurdle run, but they're counted in the UK, so that's where his hard run comes from. Yeah, I think it'll suit him. I think he'll go well.
Hey, Rob, that was great. Thanks a lot for that, and we might see you again next year.
Yeah, I don't. You were on the ropes for this year. I don't think it'll survive to next year. Now,
perhaps not.
It depends how many winners Jack Carr tips up anyway.
Well, this is it, yeah. So we'll see how Jack goes, and James might be back at that point. Anyway, Rob, thanks a lot.
Back, Cillian.
Welcome back, and thanks to Rob for that. It was a great insight on the horses, and hopefully they have a great week. So I suppose Jack on to Thursday in the Mayor's Novice.
Yeah, God, Cillian, I think this is a strong race. I'm flip-flopping between having a right go up and Bambino Fever, who I liked all the way last year. Back to in a few bumpers, thankfully. But the JP horse that better the first day, looks a right horse, and then I think the Kenny Alexander horse in behind for Henry, I think looks like she should be a good horse as well. I'd say she's nearly flying in under the radar. She's like 12-1 now, which is a super price. So again, this is one, I suppose it'll depend how my week's going nearly, which is a bad way to go kind of thinking about a race. But I'll probably look to double up Bambino Fever with a few kind of bigger fancies that I have earlier in the week. and hopefully have her kind of coming on. But I'd struggle to have a right goaler in a single, just given the strength in behind her.
Yeah, I'd be. I think she's a very impressive mare, champion bumper winner, but she has a short price. I think Old School Outlaw beat her fair and square. The first day they ran, and she was brilliant in the Solarina. I think she's nearly the one to beat, to be honest. And like, she's been bought by JP since, and he would have gave a right few quid for her, and I think she's a smashing mare. Yeah, Echo in Silence is 2 out of 2 this year, has been kept fresh for the race. Henry's record with horses that are fresh is brilliant as well. So if he knocked in a couple of winners earlier in the Monday or Tuesday, or the Tuesday or Wednesday even, I don't think you'd be seeing 12-1 about her. But yeah, it'd be Old School Outlaw for me at the moment anyway.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think look, the one thing I do think is it's hard to understand how Echo in Silence is 12-1. I think
Yeah,
if
yeah.
like Henry just has such a good record with mares as well, so I definitely have a bit each way on her, just to kind of save myself sickening myself onto the
Yeah.
kind of the big mares race, the grade one, which I suppose has caused a lot of controversy over the last couple of years. Lozzie, I think we both expect to go here. Do you think she wins?
No, I don't. I think she'll definitely run here. It's a race that shouldn't exist. Lozzie Mount should be in the champion hurdle, and Woodoo should be in the stairs. It does. There's no reason why this exists at the Cheltenham Festival, other than to let good mares dodge geldings. And yeah, I think like she's 2 out of 2 in this race. I've been against her the last 2 years, but she's yet to come up against a horse as good as Woodoo. She beat Woodoo in Aintree last year, but that was Woodoo's first run in at grade one level, and like she's proven this year, like she was good over in Ascot. She won a Christmas. She got the job done. She's fresh coming to the race. Lossiemouth had a grueler behind Brighter Days Ahead in the Irish Champion Hurdle, and geez, if she's ever going to be beat in the race, it's going to be on next Thursday. I'm with Woodoo anyway. She's top class, and she's very hard to knock, to be honest. And I think Lossiemouth will have to be at her best to beat her.
Yeah, I think look, Woodoo is she's a very likable horse. I suppose they're always a bit likable when you've backed them previously and they've won.
Well, this is it, yeah.
But I'm similar to you last year. I took on Lozzie and kind of ate my words and lost my money. But like you say, I think she's had a lot of tough runs over her career as well. Like she's still young now. She's got some record in behind her. But I think there's every possibility something comes. And I think if something does come, it is Woodoo. But it's hard to kind of have a proper bet on either of them, I think.
Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah. It wouldn't be any big stakes now, but I do fancy Woodoo to beat her, to be honest.
Yeah, and then onto the Robcour Stairs hurdle, which
Um, yeah, I think it's an apt name, and hopefully we don't look like fools. But like going back to the defending champion, the 11-year-old now Bob Ollinger, the big dog, 4 out of 4, maybe fortuitous to be 4 out of 4, but he's unbeaten at Cheltenham. I think the race was ran to suit him last year. It was relatively slowly run, and he's the fastest horse in the race. He remains potentially the fastest horse in the race. I know Cabrel de Matan is coming there now this year. Now he's a horse that I'd actually fancy in a champion hurdle if he ran there. I think he's a super horse and he's improving. But yeah, I think Bob comes with a great chance. He's a short price now. I know we were on him at 50s last year for the race, only about a week and a half out, but he's nowhere near that price now. He's 5-6 to 1, and yeah, he's pretty skimpy. Like, I don't know, when an 11-year-old Barsar de Burle won at last, so it's a big ask from him. But geez, he ran a cracker at Christmas, and I think he'll be thereabouts again. Like Tiupu, then, like, he's 2 out of 2 this year, held on in the Hatton's Grace and hosed up at Christmas. I don't think he's as nearly as ground dependent as people think. I just think he wants plenty of pace in the race, and if he gets that, I think he'll be thereabouts as well. Like, I like Mashantu. I think he's a great record at Cheltenham, but I know he's improving, but geez, I struggle to see him win this race. To be honest, Impose Trois is one that has absolutely no chance if he runs. He was well held the last day by Mashantu. I know he gave him a bit of weight, but he won't reverse that form. I'd be certain. Honesty Policy probably needs to improve a nice bit from what he did at Christmas. In the long walk behind Imposed one strong leader. Now he could, but I just don't know. Is the form of that race in Aintree last year as strong as people think? And the one that could upset it is Cabrel de Matan. But geez, I think I was like, when I heard he was going, I was saying, geez, yeah, this lad is a right chance. But I just feel like his best attribute is nearly his jumping, and in a stairs hurdle, like he's going to be the slickest jumper in the field, and I just think he could find himself at the front too soon. And
Yeah,
if you're turning in and you're up near the front, you can hold and wait, but like, Tube was going to try and run the sting out of you. Bob will be coming. You're going to have Mashan too, an honesty policy around as well. I just think a stronger stayer will beat Cabrel de Matan. And I think every horse in the race is a stronger stayer than him. That's going to be
yeah.
thereabouts. So maybe next year might be one for him, but he's a very impressive horse, and I think he'll be thereabouts, but I think he might just be outstayed by one of the older horses.
Yeah, no, look, I agree, Cillian. I think it's a race that probably it historically suits older horses, and
Mm.
older horses do have a good record in it. I thought after the Rail Kill at Cheltenham on New Year's Day that the skeleton horse Cabral del Matan would probably go straight to Aintree to the race Imperial Pass. I think was
Yeah.
bet won against Langerdan and Bob in a photo a couple of years ago. And to be honest, I think he'd win that race if he went straight, and I'd like to have seen him do that. I would have backed him. I don't think he's a 3 miler just yet. He might become in time. I think him and Honesty Policy are two good horses, but two probably horses for this race in the future. I think what the Skeleton horse shows is Dan Skeleton is probably confident he's got the Trainers Championship wrapped up, and well, he's not going to come for him this year. I don't think this horse will be running here if he thought he needed to win that Grade One in Aintree, which is probably a better race for him. Um, Look, I think Jupu has become a bit of an insulting price, like to the horse and to the trainer. Like you're looking at what 9-4, 2-1 now. I think people are clinging on to the fact that the ground's drying out. Like you said, I think there'll be a bit of soft in the description, which is plenty for him. I think that's all he needs. I think this is probably the year he's shown his best. Like his run in the Hatton Sprays was a super run over not his ideal trip, and then I think Christmas he demolished them. Now Bob came closing or came kind of fast at the end. That having looked like he was number one fat in the parade ring, like he just looked huge, and then he looked hammered, three out. So to see him anywhere near, I think there's life in him yet. He's a bit like Benjamin Button. He's nearly getting younger. But look, I think if to quote your former co-host James Heffernan, if Chupu could understand it, she'd be putting the kind of previews up, hanging them up in the change room and creating siege mentality there to get him going, because it's just at this point, like any preview I've listened to, any podcast I've watched, he's barely mentioned, and I just think it's crazy. And any mention he gets, he's going to be bet. Look, I hope he goes and wins it. I think he deserves a second one. He's a class horse, and he's still only 9, and it feels like he's been around forever as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, yeah, I'd be hoping Bob would get the job done, but yeah, I think like Bob, Teopu, Cabrel de Matan, they're the three that I think can win. Um, Not to say that they mightn't all be placed, but I do think that Bob and Teopu are pretty much nailed on for 2 of the 3 places, to be perfectly honest. So
Yeah.
hopefully Bob can go 5 out of 5 and solidify himself as the big dog.
On to Ryanair. Look, I think there's been a lot of, again, this is probably a race that people would argue shouldn't be there. I do like it as a race. I think you get some really good winners and some really good contests. I think last year was a procession. I'd say the same horse will come here again for a procession. I think that's been answered by the exchanges over the last couple of days. unless JP and the boys are playing a few tricks. But
Yeah, I'd say you're right. Looks like it'll be Factifile again. Like Jesus, yeah, you could see him going off any price. Like, are we going to have 6, 7 runners even? I wouldn't say so. Like, Hartwood is the only one that is towards the top of the market that's nailed on to go.
yeah,
And I know he's improved this year, but I can't see him getting to Factifile or Gaelic Warrior if they do the old switcheroo.
yeah,
Um, Factifile here is it's an Eagle Street Considine max bet. Like it's fill your boots like, and
I've
you
heard
just
those ads.
have to just put
Yeah.
on what you want and what you can afford or can't afford, and go wait the 5 minutes or 5.5 minutes and collect.
Yeah. No, I think it's like you said, I hear those Eagle Street boys, they've filled their boots a few times this year and they normally come away happy.
They do, yeah.
Um,
They're shrewd operators, Brian McKenna and Mr. Constantine.
yeah, I think they'll end up coming away. They'll wait their 5 minutes and what'll they get? 4 to 7, so they'll get a
Oh,
nice
I'd say it could be a bit shorter than 4 to 7 now. I'd say it'd be 2 to 5 to be honest.
yeah, well, look, 40% interest rate.
Well,
If they're
there you are,
happy
like,
in keeping, they'll be happy men.
yeah.
But what about John Bon? Is he going or is there any?
I don't know, like, geez, I'd love to see John Baum win at Cheltenham, but I wouldn't have him to beat Factifile. I'd run him in the champion
No.
chase, altogether. I just let him have his go there. If you want to run in Cheltenham, if not, keep him for Aintree. He'll win the Aintree.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be great to see him win in Cheltenham. He's a super horse. He's one of my favorite horses anyway, and like he just runs his race every day. Like I know he had a bad run in the champion chase last year, but he still finished second. Like he's collecting mountains and mountains of prize money.
yeah.
So yeah, that'd be yeah. I'd love to see him win, but I wouldn't be able to say that he could beat Factifile or Majborough.
No. But look, he'd add a bit of spice to the race,
Ah, he would,
which
of
would
course. Yeah, yeah.
um, cool. On to the handicaps. I think you've got something you've been eyeing up here at a big price for a while, have you, Cillian?
Well, he was a big price, and then he wasn't. Kim Rock in the Kim Muir. Who I saw him run in Cheltenham twice earlier in the season, in October, November, I think, or was it November, December? Run over 2.5 miles. Thought he'd really benefit for a step up and trip. Ran well placed both those days. Marcus sort of eking up a small bit, which he needed to happen. Ran a good race in Leopardstown the last day. Thought again, like jumped the last in front, but just got beaten by faster horses. I think him and a Kim Muir now would be really, really interesting. Not sure who'd ride him. He'll be carrying a pretty low weight. So unsure on that, but I've been back to the 50s. He's about a 12 or 14 to 1 shot now. Still think there's a bit of juice in the price, but I'd wait to see on who's booked to ride him.
Yeah,
He's definitely one I'm interested in. I wouldn't really. Pretemps is a terrible race now since they changed the rules. Having 6 qualifying one time was great. You could spot the eye catchers, and now it's a bit more difficult with the
yeah.
four.
Just
I
to
don't like it.
just to kind of to inform the listeners, there was once upon a time Cillian was Mr. Pertemps. I think he backed 5 or 6 winners of it in a row.
Yeah.
But he now doesn't like the race because he's stopped being able to find the winners over the last
Well,
couple of
no,
years.
it's not even that. It's stupid. Like, now maybe qualifying system for a race anyway is stupid, but I enjoyed it and I had great look out of it. I haven't had much luck the last couple of years. So yeah, novice handicap, I think Cocktail Divan off a mark of 150 is potentially thrown in. He's a right horse. I actually backed him to beat Romeo Coolio in Down Royal. So that just tells you what I think of him. I think he's a super horse. He was a good hurdler last year. He played here. He's fourth in the entry grade one that Honesty Policy got up to winning. He he was always going to be a good chaser. I think 150 underestimates him, for all he could run in the Brown Advisory, and I think he'd have a chance there too. But I'd imagine he goes to novice handicap unless it's real, real quick round.
Yeah,
Slade Steele, I know we just heard from Rob. I think he's kind of a bit of a forgotten horse. I was at a preview. Dara O'Keefe was talking, and Dara said that he thought the same nearly. Like he is a grade one winner over hurdles. He won a Supreme. He good form in and around with Ballyburn, and couple other horses. Probably didn't finish out his race the last day over 3 miles. Got beaten by Joystick, but I think strongly run 2.5 miles on the new course is really going to suit him. And I think he's, if Cocktail Divan doesn't go here, he'll go off a lot shorter than he is. So, it might be worth having a few quid on him, none or no bet, and hope you get good news. But that'll be all for the handicaps on Thursday. Anthony, yourself?
Yeah, no, look, I think I don't really have anything bar. I think Cocktail the Van, and it's not a sexy price anyway, 9 to 4, but I think it is one you can get pretty stuck into. I think like Henry is it's his time of the year. I think he's thrown in, and I just think he wins if he goes here, and I hope he does. I think if there's any sense in the world he will, because I don't think he'd win a Grand Advisory, but although it is a weak race this year, but I think he'll win this.
Yeah, so nap on Thursday then, Jack?
Look, at 9 to 4, it has to be cheaper. I think there was a point a month ago I thought he was going to go off fucking odds on, like the way he just keeps coming in and coming in. So I think if you can get anything over, if you can get 2 to 1 or over, I think fill your boots, particularly if there's any bit of soft in the ground, which I'm sure there will be. There's not going to be a good Cheltenham anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. He's the right price. I think for me now it'll be potentially each way double Old School Outlaw and Woodoo. I wouldn't like to be looking at fact to file at a very short price. I think he'll definitely win. But maybe Old School Outlaw Woodoo each way double, and you have a right chance of winning on both sides, and they'll both definitely place. So you might get a few quid on that. I'm not sure what price Old School Outlaw is at the moment, but I think it'll pay a few quid on the each way part anyway.
Yeah, she's 3 to 1 with
Yeah, 3 to 1, and sure, what Woodoo will be 9 to 4.
Yeah, and look, I'm sure you know they're both going to be there, so you can back them out most at this point still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings us on to Friday then, Jack. Triumph Hurdle. What do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I guess the big news here was Narciso Haas, who's just got class all year, is out. I don't have a huge opinion after that. I obviously like Bonge too, given the podcast we're on. I don't know if she's going to go. I think Robcour have 2 lovely.
No, you just obviously Jack wasn't on the call with Rob, but Monge 2 is going to go to Aintree. So
Okay.
yeah.
So look, it's not a race I have a huge opinion on. I was listening to, I think it was the race hour last week, and I ended up backing Proactive off the back of it in a double. But apart from that, it's one I'll see again how do we explain out how I play it, but it won't be a big bet.
To be honest, I think I'd be really against the Richie horse, Selma. I'm not going to pronounce the rest of it, but I'd be against her, to be honest. I don't think that, like, beat Monge 2 was a second to Narciso Has in Leopardstown, but wasn't really ridden to win the race. I'd be surprised if she'd be able to beat Monge 2 again. Like, she ran in November. She's not going to come on a massive amount for the run from February. Like, she would only had maybe a month off. So I'd be against her. I think Proactive is the one really, but again, wouldn't have too much of a strong opinion on it. I know we heard from Rob Highland Crystal is going to go. She's an absolutely huge price. She's rated the same as the second favourite, Selma de whatever, and she's 138. Like, that's 145 Geldon. So, like, she's a huge price at 33 to 1. She's bigger on the exchange. I've had a few quid on. Don't know will she be good enough to win it, but she'll definitely be hitting the frame.
Yeah, like you'd have to think of like a performance between 145 and 150 could win this. Like there's not a huge amount of class in it with Narciso Haas gone and Monge 2 not going. So like at the price, she's definitely worth a bet. But yeah, it's not a race I've much opinion on. It's a race I normally love, but just this year it's not working out that way.
Yeah.
Onto the Mayor's Chase. Yeah, a race I've never really kind of connected with. I know a good buddy of ours won it a couple of years ago with Colorivi, and that's probably the last time I've taken a huge amount of interest in the race. Dino Blue, again, is a horse I've backed to win a few times. I've backed to lose quite a few times. Or I've backed down, she's lost quite a few times. I think the one I would have loved before the DRF is Spindlebury, but I just struggle to see her coming back after a really tough Irish Gold Cup run. Couldn't have her at 7 to 2. Like, I think, look, if she wins, I'd love to clap her in. I think she's a savage horse, but I think they made a mistake going to the Irish Gold Cup. I don't see what the thinking was there. She would have had this sewn up, I think, otherwise.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Dino Blue's the right favourite. Won the race last year. Again, a race that shouldn't exist. She should be in the Champion Chase. Only by Night should be in the Champion Chase. July Flower should be in the Arkle. Spindleberry should be at home. Because the only other race she could go in is the Gold Cup, and like she'd have no chance there, and I think she's no chance here either. Um, Again, if she hadn't ran in Leopardstown, I'd have been pro her, but she'd a very tough race, and very hard to see her coming back from that. Jumped very poorly, never travelled. I think July Flower at a bigger price is the one I'd be looking at. Like she's an awful lot of experience. She won the Arkle trial in November, was beaten at Christmas by Romeo and Irish Panther, but like travelled into the race well, looked like she was going to be thereabouts, and just maybe the faster horses just pulled away from her there. But she's 2.5 miles in the new course really suit her. I think she's one now. Again, if Henry is a good week, she'll contract a nice bit in price. But yeah, hard to knock Dino Blue, to be honest, especially on, like, as long as it's not an absolute bog on Friday, I think she'll probably go and win it again.
Yeah, I think it's probably that simple. Albert Bartlett, the last of the novice hurdles. Cillian, what do you think here? It's a race, it's a race that can be kind of, it's tricky to back.
It is a very tricky race. Like Dr. Steinberg, right favourite again, like won the grade one at the DRF, but does race a bit keen. Like, would you be wanting to get stuck into a horse like that in a 3 mile race in Cheltenham? Last horse to race as keen as he did in Bartlett and win was Manella Indo, who turned out to be a Gold Cup winner. So, like, I'm not going to say, I wouldn't say Dr. Steinberg is that level at all. So, like, the Devil, is a very solid horse. He's got that form from Goran is absolutely scandalous. Him beating Skylight Hustle and the Passing Wife in third, like that's wicked strong form. Passing Wife could run here as well. The one I might like, it'd be Espresso Milan. Won the same race Monkfish won before going to Cheltenham. Think he's a really strong stayer. He'd be one now that he'd be the one I'd be looking at the moment. I think Rob alluded to it there, spinning a yarn, like he's won his last two. He's coming in good form, but he's a short price, like, for what he's done. I wouldn't be too pro him now, to be honest. I know Darragh O'Keefe gave a good mention to King's Books in a preview I was at down in Limerick. He's a maiden coming into the race, but so was Manella Indo. Now, again, this horse is no Manella Indo, but he was second to No Drama this end in Cheltenham earlier in the season, so he has the course form. And again, like, if No Drama this end ran here, you'd be all over him. He'd definitely win the race. But King's Book's a big price, about 33 to 1. Wouldn't put anyone off that. But I think for me now, I'd have it between the Devil, and Espresso Milan, and I'd just side towards Espresso Milan, I think.
Yeah, no, I think Espresso Milan's a pretty interesting horse, I'd say, Cillian. Like, his profile's interesting, starting off with Fergal O'Brien
Yeah.
before moving to Willie, and even what he ran in Ireland, he ran the Punchestown Bumper for Fergal O'Brien. And I think what's interesting, or what I find really interesting with him, is the fact he started off in a 2 mile maiden hurdle, and then Willie moves him straight up to 2 miles 6. I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think he does that often. I think he
No.
probably knows that this lad, like, he's could even be a 4 miler, or and maybe just looking at the colours too much, or a Grand National horse. If at that distance, not saying he's that good, because I don't know if he's nearly that good, but just looking at the colours. So I think, he's a big price. I think it's a race you're going to have to back something a big price. Dr. Steinberg, I just couldn't have at 5 to 2. I really liked him at the DRF, but there's been a lot of people picking holes, and that's kind of put me off a bit. Maybe I shouldn't be listening to the outside of it, but 5 to 2, and then Albert Bartlett, you're asking for trouble. The Devil, again, I just think like, he has great form, and particularly if Skylight Hustle goes and wins the Turners on Wednesday. But I'd struggle to back a Paul Nolan horse at 4 to 1 in grade 1 at Cheltenham. I think
Yeah, like, I think the Devil, is a very good horse. Like, he was brilliant in Doncaster as well. Like, Paul, I know the race latest exhibition ran him was a deeper Bartlett, but latest exhibition would definitely win this. I don't think the Devil You Know is that level. So I think Espresso Milan is fairly solid. He'll be thereabouts, and hopefully we'll try and come out the right side of it with that.
Yeah, like to be honest, I think Willie wins it. I think he wins it with a non-obvious one. I don't think he wins it with Dr. Steinberg. I think like it could be Sortudo if he goes here, or it could be Espresso Milan, but who knows? I'll tell you at 3:30 next Friday. Right, on to the big race of the week, the most important race in National Hunt, Gold Cup. Cillian, what do you think here? I think it's a very, 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 very interesting kind of race versus the last couple of years where you've probably been coming over thinking you're getting a procession by Galloping, one of the best horses of all time, whereas this looks just wide open.
Yeah, it's very competitive. It's going to be some race. Like you've got, I suppose, Factifile likely won't run. You got the King George farm with Django, Jukebox Man, and Gaelic Warrior, Gallop and Deschamps, Haughty Colours. Couple of the previous winner, I know the way you're thinking, was supposedly coming into form again. Spillane Tower on Violin. Like it's a very open race, and to be honest, I wouldn't have a strong opinion on it, but like you can get Galloping Deschamps at roughly the same price as Haughty Colours, which is absolute lunacy. Um, I know Galloping probably isn't the same horse he was, and years of going to the well has maybe taken its toll. But like, geez, if he's not in front of Haughty Colours, I don't know. I might give up watching racing, like, because Haughty Colours, like, very strong stayer, fair enough, won a Welsh national off top weight, but wouldn't nearly have the class to win a race like a Gold Cup. For all he could run on into third, but I just think there's better horses there. Um, like I think Gaelic Warrior, if he can produce his top effort, I think he'll win the race.
Yeah.
But it's hard to know with him too. Like I think in Violin at a huge price is going to be swinging, turning in. Whether he sees out the trip or not, I don't know. But like he was nearly at his best ever in Down Royal last November, and like it was much the same as the same effort that was second to Jerry Clum the year before or 2 years before. So I think in Violin is a right chance at a huge price. Spillane's Tower, another one you wouldn't be surprised to see him run well. It wouldn't really be gone in the Jukebox Man. I think,
Yeah.
geez, I'd run him in the Ryanair. Um, Especially like if there was something happened, Factified and Gaelic Warrior both decided to go to the Gold Cup. Geez, if Ben Pauling doesn't run the Jukebox Man in the Ryanair, he'd want to hand back the license because he'd absolutely hose up in that. Imagine him from the front of the Ryanair; they wouldn't see another horse. I just don't know is he ready for the Gold Cup this year? I think Django Bay has a right chance too, but it's some race. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, like it's one where it's hard to stick your colours to any mast, but like there's a lot of chances. Like I don't know, I don't think we'll look back maybe in 5 years' time and it being like one of the best Gold Cups of all time, whatever wins it. But I think on the day it'll be a very exciting race, and like there's just so much to look forward to in it. There's so many different dynamics. How many places will there be? 4 places, do you think?
I'd say if with the maybe some Sky Bet might go four
Yeah,
places.
just thinking like Envoy Land, like by all accounts, he was supposed to be retired after down Royal. So like,
Yeah.
Henry must have seen something there to keep him going, and like you said, that was a super performance. You could easily see him. I think if you got 4 places, I'd be very happy to back him at 20-25 or something for 4 places.
Mm.
But yeah, apart from that, look, I know the way you're thinking is leaving a bit of a sickening mark on a lot of people. He's 8-1 now, or around that. Look, if he wins, he wins. But I couldn't be having him at that. But like I did leave Cheltenham last year thinking there's not a hope he doesn't win this year. So like if he comes back, it's a miracle of some sort. I'm not gonna get myself in trouble. But from what we've seen throughout the rest of the year, it's impossible to back him at 8-1 when you're looking at Gaelic Warrior at what 6-1.
Mm.
Like, so for me, it's a see what I want, see what I'm going to back on today, but I'll probably go in Violin 4 places if we can get
Yeah, fair
25
enough.
from that. Handicaps. Maybe start with county because I think it's a handicap. All like it's always a great race. Like there's been great winners. I think we had a really good winner last year, even though the qualifying rules changed. I think we probably have one of the worst favourites of the week here. Myself in Mercy, I think I touched on it last week, and I think it's been said around the around the circuit for the last couple of weeks that Triumph last year was just a bag of shite, and it's another reason why I couldn't have Lulamba in the Arkle. But beyond Mercy, I think, look, I think the good thing about Mercy is she's giving you value on some of the rest of the horses. But do you have any strong opinion here, Cillian?
No, I'd be against Marcia. I think like she's carrying more weight than Cargies was last year. She's not Cargies. I don't even think she's a two miler. I'd actually like to see Mercia in a Coral Cup. I think she'd run really well there. I just don't know, is she the real two miler you need to win a race like this? Yeah, I'd be against her, to be honest. I think Indawi has a right chance. Second in the race last year off 140, comes back off 153, but has since then has won the Galway Hurdle. Had a really good pipe opener the last day in Dundalk, over a mile of all things, and he finished only 3/4 of a length behind a horse rated 96. So I think he comes in really good form. I think Josh Williamson will probably ride him, take £5 off. So he'll be running off 151, which would be actually £11 higher than last year's. But he's 25-1. I'd say he's a right chance now, to be honest.
Yeah, look, the one if he runs, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything, but Kopek to me, the famous JP horse from last year, I think he's about 16-1 now. If he's there on the day, I'll have a fiver each way just to stop myself from being sickened in case he wins, given all the talk last year. But apart from that, I don't have a huge opinion on the race. And then for the final race of the week, the Martin Pipe, a good winner last year in Woodoo, who might follow it up this year. And it's a race that's seen some super horses, including Gallop and the Champs, win it. Do you have any kind of fancy here, Cillian?
Yeah, I fancy her of entitlement. We heard from Rob there. I think she's got a right chance, to be honest. Price has sort of gone in there in the last week or so into about 14, 16-1, but I think she's still a good price on that. Yeah, she won the Mayor's Novice last year. Maybe it wasn't a vintage race. 6.5 hasn't set the world on fire since. I know Air of Entitlement hasn't been fantastic either, but I suppose it would have needed the run first time out, and then busy handicap in Leopardstown, got a bit of her handicap experience there. And I think again, Henry in March, she's got a right chance there. I don't think she's going to be a Woodoo. Actually, she's definitely not going to be a Woodoo, but she's a very solid horse in her own right. And off 139, I think she's more than capable of hitting the frame anyway.
Yeah, no, I think is the Charles Bourne's horse going to run? Do you think? I said
The Coral Cup.
Coral Cup.
Yeah.
So they're going up from 2 miles to 3 mile.
2 mile 5 in the Coral Cup. Yeah.
Cut that out.
So
yeah, look, I think myself, I have Irvin Entitlement backed, but it's from listening to yourself kind of bang on about her for the last couple of months, Cillian.
yeah.
That's it for me. Your nap on the Friday. What do you think?
That is a good question now. I'd say it'd probably be each way on July Flower in the Mayor's Chase.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Just thinking back on it, it's going to be a tough Friday. I think I've gone to Cheltenham and not, been up nicely before in the first 3 days. I've gone and lost it on the Friday, so maybe my nap would be to put a bit of cash back in the wallet.
Go into John Lewis and buy yourself a Barber coat.
Yeah, well, look, there's a fella flying home from Australia at the moment, Glenn Kerrigan, and I've promised him the last couple of years if we win a bit of cash, we'll go into John Lewis and get a Barber coat. But I think he said the last couple of years when he was losing money, he didn't have any space in the suitcase. So we'll see what the excuse is this year.
Yeah, there's always an excuse with Glenn anyway. So yeah, be under no illusions, there will be one again. I suppose, Jack, that brings us to the end of the week.
Yeah.
Have you a nap for the week, or maybe a multiple you want to do for the week or something?
Look, I think at the prices, if again anything over 2-1 on Chupu, I think just have everything you want. I'll be pretty keen on El Kairos at 6-1. I think, look, like I said, if he stays up, he wins. I think he's the class horse in the Supreme. So I'll have a good bet on him on the first day, and when I'm kind of reflecting back now. But apart from that, to be honest, and it probably brings us on nicely to the final bit of the show. The There's some of these races I have more kind of interest in laying horses than I do backing them. Now I know last year, Cillian, you had a new edition called the Lay List that went down very well, and I think kind of definitely ended up money on the week. Are you bringing it back this year, or
Oh,
what do you think?
I'm bringing it back. Be under no illusions. So I'll swing out my Lay List now here first, Jack, if that's okay with you. So
Yeah, yeah.
Tuesday starting off, Arkle, Romeo Coolio, 2 places, 3 places. Just don't think he'll be fast enough to lie up with the other horses, to be honest. Just that's assuming now we get Irish Panther in the Arkle, which we more than likely will. The new line to win the champion hurdle, can't win it. I think Bright Rays ahead and Golden Ace will both beat him. Moving on to Wednesday, same thing, no drama this end, won't win the Turners. Very good horse, just isn't Dinman, and Dinman couldn't win this, so he won't win. Final Demand in the Brown Advisory won't win the race, and I'd be happy to lay him 2 and 3 places as well. Windigo in the Brown Advisory won't win the race. Now he'll probably come second, third, fourth, but he definitely won't win it. He won't beat all those good horses. Cross country race we didn't touch on. Stumptown, just no chance he can win this off 162. Much deeper race than last year. You're getting Favre de Champ 2 and Desert Morehouse in it, both in really good form. Vanillier, who ran on well last year, got a poor, well, not a poor ride, just sort of went out on the wrong side of the course. Getting all them against him, he'd be some horse to do it. Be great to see it, but he won't be. He'll be the opposite of my money. Lotus Hood in the champion chase, I think he's absolutely no chance. He folded in the Arkle last year. Having jumped the last in front. Fair enough, he's coming fresh, but there's still 3 or 4 horses that are more than likely going to finish in front of him as well. And he's 4-1 now with Marine Nationale gone. He's a woeful price. Thursday, Impose Trois in the Stairs. 3 places, 4 places, depending on how many run. Absolutely no hope. He mightn't run himself, but I'd be very against him. Friday, Selma de Very in the Triumph Hurdle just can't win. Very surprised if she beats Proactive, Manila Study, these horses. She was ridden to come home in Leopardstown, no hope. Spindleberry, if she goes to Mayor's Chase, she's going to have to give Dino Blue £2. She wouldn't beat Dino Blue getting £5, I'd say. And she's off a really difficult race in the DRF, so I'd be very against her. Then 2 in the Gold Cup, Haughty Callures can't win the race. May plug on, but not possible to win it. And the Grey Dawning, again, don't think he'll see out the trip. I'd run him in the Ryanair for all the Ryanair shouldn't be a race anyway, but that's beside the point. If I had the option, I'd run him in the Ryanair, or I'd save him for Aintree. He's no hope in the Gold Cup. And even the Jukebox Man, I just don't think, I think it's a year too soon for him, and I'd be very surprised if he can win the race. I just don't know, will he see out the 3 mile too, as well as some other horses.
And who's your lay of the meeting?
Lay of the week. Impose Trois, 3 places and 4 places.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't run, I'll go with Final Demand in the RSA, 3 places.
Yeah, look, I think we're pretty aligned. Is Lamba. I think I'll lay Lamba 2 places and Romeo 2 places. I think it's going to be a Willie 1-2 with Kopek and Cargisi. And I think Irish Panther could actually sneak in there as well. So I just think that's a really strong race. I think Final Demand, same as I'd lay him. Yeah, definitely 2 places, maybe even 3, depending on what the prices are like. And yeah, the new line, I don't see. I hope he keeps short. I hope he shortens all the way into as close to evens as possible, and I'll have a good lay on him. Yeah, look. Apart from that, I think it's a tough Cheltenham. I think it's one where a lot of people might come out a bit bruised. I think people here come out really, really happy or really, really bruised, but it's not going to be like some previous years where all punters felt the same, depending on, I think there's going to be a real mix and match of results, and it's going to be a bit of a war at times. But I'm really looking forward to it now. Can't wait to
Yeah,
go
I
over
think
there.
the bit of advice I give people is anyway, like, especially the fact that like you've got graded races there where it's 2 and 5 to 2 the field, like, there aren't all these plethora of odds on shots. If you can go out and back 6, 7 winners across the week, you're gonna be up money, like if you do it right. So it's just a matter of, if you can go back a winner at 14 or 16 to 1 in a handicap and get a few quid out of it, don't go giving it back in the cross country or in the hunter's chase. Actually, don't even back a horse in the hunter's chase unless you're going to back wrapped up in May. But aside from that, no, best of luck to everyone, and it was great to do this. And thanks to Jack for coming on in James's absence. James has got the first Red X of the week, well after Marine National. So it was great to do it. And thanks again to Rob. So God willing, we'll see plenty of you over in the Cotswolds. And
Yeah,
hopefully our friend Brian McKenna can get home from Dubai. He's stranded there in a resort getting free hotel rooms. So hopefully he's enjoying sunning himself for now, and hopefully he makes it back to see us back a few winners over there.
yeah. Look, I think that's the price you have to pay to take money offshore. Is to, you might get stuck in the middle of a war zone.
Well, this is it, yeah.
But look,
Yeah.
he's a shrewd guy, and it'd be great to have him. I think he's only coming Thursday and Friday, but he always brings a few winners with him anyway.
Oh, he does, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He always leaves with his pockets full as well. So anyway, that's great from both of us. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Thanks, Cillian. Bye.